Thank you. Tammy?
My name is Tammy Siekman. We've lived here for about 9 years. We have 3 girls. My husband, Tim, he coached for the wrestling team, middle school. My oldest daughter played for the football team, only girl, to make 2-a-days. So, of course, they learn from the best in that regard, I feel. My middle child is on the newspaper editor. So she's on her way to journalism school at Mizzou. My youngest plays volleyball for the Lancers, so we're sports people. But I got involved in politics because I ran for state rep. I used to work for the Clinton campaign. And yes, I'm a Democrat. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I'm running because I care about the town of Londonderry. So I've just decided that I think it's important that we, as citizens, get involved. And when I first did that with the national campaign, I realized that I can make a difference locally. And I think until you actually get involved in politics, then you find out what you can do. And as a mom, I'm a CEO. I'm a paralegal by trade. But I've been involved taking care of my children and my father, who has Alzheimer's, and thought, now it's time to throw my ring in the hat, and I'm sure I can get things done. I'm young, new fresh face, I can get some things done.
Thank you. Chris?
My name is Chris Navarro, and I've lived in town for 15 years. My husband and I moved from California due to jobs, and we've been here ever since. I'm running, because this is our home, this is our town, this is where we've chosen to live, this is where we've chosen to raise our children. And I'd like to see our town prosper. I'd like to see it stay similar in nature to what it looks like today. I don't want a bunch of strip malls going up all over town at Max or Sunnycrest. I do like the look of the town, and that's what I'd like to see going forward. That being said, I think there's a lot of opportunity for economic development, light manufacturing and those types of companies to come into our town and help us out, again, on the taxes and, bring in additional revenue. My background is engineering. I was involved in the printed wiring industry for many, many years. Obviously, that's gone pretty well down the tubes here in New Hampshire. There's not a lot of it left. So from my engineering background, I'm very used to looking at data and deriving a good, the facts and, weighing the information based on the actual data as opposed to opinion and stuff like that. So I think I could bring some very good analytical skills to the table as a member of the town council. I would just like to, be involved with our town, and I think I can do a very good job based on the skill set that I do have. So that's about it.
Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it, and thank you, all of you, again. Well, let's start out with the most controversial thing I think that's happening right now, and that is that the superintendent came before the town council and talked about consolidating the Londonderry Access Center under the school district's purview. How do you feel about that?
Well, back when I was on the budget committee, we had a joint meeting between the school, the budget committee, and the town council. And one of the things that we all talked about, and you remember it, was symmetries. What can we do as a town to share services? So the school board and the town council both told Nate and they told Dave Karen to get together, see what you guys can do. So obviously you have different factions in pretty much as what we have now as far as the uproar, so to speak. Nate was just doing what he was asked to do, as was Dave Karen. As far as the idea itself, there's a lot of things you have to look at. And that was the first go-around with it, and, there's a lot of questions. So it's run very well. It's done very well. It's been a great point of interest for a lot of residents. And I think that you have to be very careful as far as how when you make a decision, you have to really consider everything that's involved. And, you know, you also have different unions and things like that, so. Pretty much.
Just if I could comment on that also, you know, one of the things that you look at, especially from the budget committee aspect, is the town trying to limit the tax impact on its people in the community. And knowing that that $40,000 comes out of cable access fees, to me, I don't really see much benefit in the combination. Why fix something that's not broken? Dottie does an outstanding job. As I said, the kids that I coach watch that. I mean, you know, young kids, 10-year-old, 11, 12-year-old. I mean, that is a good program. It's founded on a good, you know, she does a great job there. I've talked to her personally about it. I don't think that it's a good idea to take somebody like that and cut the head off of organization and then try to meld two organizations together. It's not going to be the same. And I'm worried about the quality that we'll put out if there's somebody different there. So I don't see the value. Sometimes you have to cut money, okay, but you've got to look at what you're actually going to not get in return. So there's a value in that as well.
Well, just as a follow-up question, is there any way not to look at personal specific people? Is there any way for you to look at the entity as a combination of effort, of services, and not look at individual people? Because certainly when it comes to the town, there will be situations where you might have to choose to let somebody go or some position go, and not somebody.
Can I just return
It's
that
like
thought?
that in everything.
Yeah.
It could be happen at the town hall. It could happen. You might have to let go of a policeman or a fireman, somebody there. But if the overall thing, the money that would be saved is iffy. There's no guarantee that if the school were to take it over,
Do you mind if I
that this
comment?
money would be saved.
I have an opinion about that in the sense that I think what Mary means, and I know what you mean, because emotionally, my thought process when I approached this was, let's call Dottie and find out why she's losing her job, which is what I did. And I called her, and of course, you don't want anybody in Londonderry at this point in time in this economy to lose their job. So after I spoke to her and I asked her, was there any communication? And I think that's really the bigger issue. The issue is not her personally. The issue is, did anybody contact her as a person losing their job, and was there any communication? And I think that's kind of the way that it was just approached in such a way that maybe could have been approached differently. Maybe, you know, obviously we need, you know, hours for teachers who don't have time during the day. We need that. We need teachers who can come on Sundays or weekends. We need that. But also, there was just not a level of communication that I saw.
See, I differ in that opinion only because, I know you were saying you wanted to kind of keep the name out of it,
yes.
but the thing is, it's because of her that the cable access is working the way it does. It's because of her. So it is important to have that name, in my opinion. So I differ with you in that way, because if it wasn't somebody that was,
I
doing
think
an
that
okay
is
job,
very professional.
yeah. But I mean, if it was somebody that was kind of doing an okay job and kind of everything was,
there's a layer
there's
of
a lot of
issues.
people that will tell you that, you know, it is successful because of her leadership. And
Oh,
because of her-
absolutely.
I don't disagree. I think she has done an excellent job. By the same token, Nate was doing what he was asked.
I don't blame Nate.
I went to the meeting the other night, and one of the things that struck me was everyone there spoke against us. There was no one there that spoke for it.
Why is that?
Well,
I don't know why that was. Maybe they were afraid. I don't know. I still haven't made up my mind. I think it needs more study.
That's what I think.
I listened to the proposal, and on the surface it sounds like a great idea. But by the same token, in order to carry out this, we have to create another committee that's going to make sure that none of the rules are broken, all the free speech and everything is there. Do we want to create more government? I mean, if we're doing this to save money and then turning around and creating another committee that's going to take up more time and everything, to do the same job that's currently being done